Are Canadians jealous of Americans? If you're watching this right now and somebody merely suggesting that Canadians would be jealous of Americans, it pisses you off, makes you angry, then clearly you haven't been paying attention. And when I say jealous of Americans, I mean some of their laws or their systems in place. And I'm going to get into exactly what those laws and systems are. And listen, if I'm wrong, I'm sure you'll let me know. But the fact is, some of their systems, some of their laws seem to be better than ours. And some Canadians are jealous. Now, the timing of this video couldn't be any better. But let's say Trump never suggested that Canada should become the 51st state. Just forget that. Let's say he didn't say it at all. I would still be making a video about the fact that many Canadians are jealous of Americans or some of their laws, some of the procedures, some of the processes. And I know this is the case because of thousands of comments which have been left on my pages over the years across all platforms. This conversation needs to be had. And now is the perfect time to have it. Canada, it seems like Canada's in limbo and changes are coming fast, big changes from the US. Some of these changes, they've lit a fire under some people, some of the politicians, some of the civilians who were just kind of actually okay with the status quo. And just so you know, it's okay to be a patriot. It's okay to love your country and be proud of your country like I am, but criticize some of its policies. It's okay to look at different countries and pick out policies or laws which you think your country should adopt, wishing your country would adopt other countries' policies on law and order, crime, taxation, their approach to insurance, personal freedoms. Just because you admit those things, it doesn't mean you want to become the 51st state. Some of the loudest voices that you hear online these days are from true patriots who have no problem stating that this isn't the country that their father or their grandfather fought and died for. They'd be turning in their grave. I'm going to primarily focus on law and order, crime and punishment, some social issues. I wouldn't say that they're my areas of expertise, but they're certainly the areas that I've been exposed to and that I've been dealing with in a personal and professional capacity my entire 50-year existence. I've owned homes. I own property. I own land. I pay taxes. I have my ear to the ground. I follow the economy. I follow the markets, both national and international. So I know a little bit of what's wrong and what needs to be fixed. I'm getting off track here, as usual. So back to the main question. Are Canadians jealous of Americans? And if so, then what are they jealous of? It goes without saying, Canada needs to have the best possible relationship with the US, whom we share a border with. The largest undefended border in the world, I might add. It's hard to make a video about this topic without addressing some of the border issues. One of the reasons why the whole 51st state idea came to be is because of the claims that Canada has an insecure border, which we all know it does. The border is a hot button topic, but it doesn't have to be. It shouldn't be partisan. People have wanted to talk about securing the border for years now, stopping the flow of guns, stopping the flow of drugs into the country. Law enforcement, politicians, they've all spoken about it, but they're often shut down, accused of things that have nothing to do with guns or illegal substances entering the country. Listen, the stats are out there. Anybody can see the amount of smuggled guns used to commit crimes in Canada. And listen, you can see this with your own two eyes. I'm not proud of it. Walking down the street, the effects of failed drug policies made worse by the flow of illegal substances crossing through the border. It's not the only reason, but it certainly made the issue worse. And this is in Canada and the US. We live in a global economy now. And I'm not talking about globalism, the global economy. People wake up every day and do business. They sell products to other individuals or businesses right around the world. It's not just commerce, though. You can play live video games with people right around the world. And you can play with people that perhaps our grandparents or great-grandparents went to war with. You would never think of associating with them back in the day. And the young people, listen, the young people playing the video games, they don't think about that naturally. They're happy to chat with one another, and that's a good thing. So what laws would Canadians be jealous about? Well, there's three easy ones that I'm going to talk about right off the bat. Castle Doctrine and Stand Your Ground laws, the Second Amendment, so the right to bear arms, and harsher penalties for violent crimes. Many states have Castle Doctrine or Stand Your Ground laws, which provide strong legal protections for people who defend themselves, who defend their family members, their homes, their property, while using force. So in Canada, Self-defense laws are much more narrow. It requires that the use of force be reasonable and proportional. You should see the comments on some of the previous videos I made regarding home invasions and how to prevent one possibly from occurring during the day if you're working from home, which isn't uncommon at all, I'm going to add. Americans, they brag about their right to defend themselves and protect their property. They openly say exactly what would happen if somebody breaks into the house during the day. And they have the backing of law enforcement and the law on both sides of the aisle. Check out this video. It's really quick.
And I want to say, as to the person, we don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. So whoever that was, you're not in trouble. Come see us. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday. And if you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money. So with that, questions?
Canadians are frustrated that their laws don't provide the same level of protection for property or self-defense. Thousands and thousands of comments on my own pages support this, and that's no exaggeration, as well as online posts right across the country. There's also a lack of clarity as to what the current laws allow. You see people who get arrested for defending themselves and spending all kinds of money to get themselves out of it. I made a video about some of the self-defense laws. I'll link it at the end and I'll include it in the description. Please check it out. There's a lot of Canadians out there. They're frustrated because they feel like their rights of defending themselves has been taken away. And more importantly, a lot of Canadians who feel that their means of defending themselves has been taken away. More gun laws, which punish legal gun owners, but do almost nothing to prevent the guns from entering through our border, and very, very little punishment for those who use those guns. Look, this is not a reflection of Border Services employees, okay? I love you. You're doing a great job. You're frustrated. Your hands are tied, just like the police. I also grew up around firearms since I was a baby. I've been shooting since, I can't even remember how old I was. I grew up around police, but I also grew up around hunters and hunting in the country with pellet guns as well. So for me, this is nothing. Now, the first one there, Castle Doctrine and Stand Your Ground laws, it kind of mixes in with the second one, which is the Second Amendment, right to bear arms. Now, I don't know any gun owner out there, and I'm talking about in Canada, but I don't know any gun owner that would like it to be easy for anybody to purchase a firearm. Not one. Most firearm owners that I know, they agree with safe storage, background checks for anybody who's looking at obtaining a firearm. So criminal record checks. They don't want everybody out there running around with guns. They just don't want their rights taken away from them. But there is also a large amount of Canadians out there who would like it to be easier to own and carry a firearm. So similar to the Second Amendment. Listen, if you grew up sheltered in a safe, protected area, you've never been exposed to violence or trauma, well, listen, I would love to know where that is. But your thoughts may be different than people who don't have that luxury. I don't have any stats that I can provide with certainty about the amount of Canadians who want something similar to a Second Amendment, because when the question's asked online, it's usually asked in so many different ways, but there are a large amount of Canadians that do, and I suspect that that number is growing. I mentioned in a video that I recently traveled to Florida. I was there with people who do carry firearms, and not police or off-duty police. We walked around, we went out to eat, walked around the city, it was dark. At no point did I feel unsafe. I felt safer walking around in that city than I do in my own city. And I'm not proud of that. Harsher penalties for violent crimes. That's number 3. Yeah, well, no freaking kidding. The majority of Canadians, they're done. They're fed up with this catch and release system and they're speaking out. Police leadership, they're done. They're speaking out. Politicians at all levels of government, they're speaking out. People are done. But what happens when you say you need to get tougher on crime, and I'm talking about online? The comments start coming in. You start getting accused of wanting to militarize the police more, build super jails to house everybody. Just because you say that you want stiffer penalties for violent criminals, that doesn't mean that you don't also want or that you don't believe in rehabilitation. We're talking about those violent criminals who have shown time and time again that they don't care about anybody's personal safety. They commit violence at any opportunity they can, and they'll do it again with little or no punishment. Little or no remorse. So if it's something long-term, in prison, teach valuable skills. It's a great opportunity. We need tradespeople. I'm a licensed carpenter. I'm a huge advocate of the trades, but also rehabilitation. And there could be a connection here. There's a lot of talent out there. And some people, they're never given the opportunity to tap into that talent, to find out what their strengths are and explore that. After high school, I was lost. I was on social assistance, so welfare. I had no direction. I hated school, but I was always good at working with my hands. So I excelled in some of the shop classes. I took a job as a laborer at a construction site, and the bosses there, they saw some real promise in me and gave me an opportunity. They gave me a chance. I was headed down a dark path, and who knows where I would have ended up. There's a lot of talent in prison. Inmates, they could hone in on these skills, feel useful, which builds self-confidence, self-esteem. They could be productive members of society. There are ways. I picked those three because I understand them more. And whether I discuss them in a video or not, these conversations are being had in your country, countries everywhere, right around the world. And it seems now more than ever, politicians are getting involved in the discussion. Maybe it's because they're forced to, but they're paying attention. Listen, I would love to know your thoughts about this. Everything I spoke about. All I really did here was relay information. If you agree or if you don't agree, tell me why. Don't just drop some hate comments. Be articulate. I want to hear about it. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate you taking the time. And until the next one, be safe out there, look after one another, and perhaps we will see you again.